When you pass the milestone of 50, something curious begins to happen. You wake up one morning and realize that the body you've carried faithfully for decades feels a little heavier, a little stiffer, a little more reluctant to keep up with the pace of your mind and heart. Maybe your knees ache when you climb the stairs, maybe your energy fades halfway through the day, or maybe you find yourself staring into the mirror wondering when those lines around your eyes arrived. It's not that life has become bad, but it feels different. And often people over 50 quietly ask themselves, is this decline inevitable, or is there still something we can do to hold on to vitality, strength, and sharpness of mind? This is the question that has fueled a lot of modern research on nutrition and longevity. And surprisingly, one very humble food keeps reappearing in the conversation: the egg. Yes, the simple egg, the same breakfast food you've probably eaten since childhood, is now being studied and celebrated as one of the most powerful allies against the aging process. And today I want to take you on a journey through science, personal reflection, and real-world advice to answer a powerful question. Are eggs the secret anti-aging food after 50? Now, before you roll your eyes and say, really? Eggs? I've heard too many conflicting stories. Let me tell you, I felt the same way. For decades, eggs were demonized because of their cholesterol. Doctors warned us, health magazines frightened us, and many people over 50 grew up believing that eating too many eggs was like writing a ticket to heart disease. I was skeptical myself, but as I dug into the science and began to test it in my own life, what I found was both eye-opening and deeply hopeful. Let's start with the basics. What does aging do to our bodies? Around 50 and beyond, we naturally lose muscle mass, a process called sarcopenia. We also see bone density decline, making fractures more common. Our immune system becomes less efficient, our brains sometimes struggle to process as quickly, and our skin loses elasticity because collagen production slows. Many of these changes feel inevitable, but nutrition science is showing that the foods we choose every day can slow or even partly reverse some of these patterns. Eggs happen to touch nearly all of these areas in surprising ways. Take muscle loss, for example. Each egg contains around 6 to 7 grams of high-quality protein, but it's not just the number, it's the completeness. Eggs have all the essential amino acids in the exact balance your body needs to repair and build muscle. That means after 50, when your body is less efficient at using protein, eggs provide a near-perfect package to keep your muscles strong. I've seen this in my own circle. A close friend of mine, a 62-year-old retired teacher, was feeling weaker every year. Her doctor suggested adding more protein to her breakfast instead of just toast and coffee. She started eating 2 eggs each morning, sometimes boiled, sometimes scrambled with vegetables. Within a few months, she noticed she could carry groceries again without feeling wiped out. It wasn't a miracle overnight change, but it was a steady and powerful difference that gave her back confidence. If you're someone who feels your strength slipping, I encourage you to think about how something as small as an egg could be the foundation for rebuilding. And here's the fascinating part. Protein in eggs is paired with nutrients like leucine, which is a key amino acid that signals your muscles to grow. For people over 50, leucine is almost like a switch that keeps the muscle building machinery from shutting down. Without it, you can eat protein and still not gain strength. Eggs deliver this switch naturally, but strength is only one side of the aging story. What about our brains? If you've ever walked into a room and forgotten why, or struggled to recall a familiar name, you know how frightening those small slips of memory can feel. Eggs are one of the richest dietary sources of choline, a nutrient that most people do not get enough of. Choline is the building block for acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter that powers memory and learning. In fact, low choline levels are linked with cognitive decline and even higher risk of dementia. Think about that. By eating eggs regularly, you could be supplying your brain with one of the very nutrients it needs to stay sharp. I don't know about you, but I find that incredibly empowering. I remember my own mother, who is in her late 70s now, struggling with memory issues a few years ago. We looked at her diet and realized she rarely ate foods rich in choline. When she began adding eggs into her week, sometimes in a salad, sometimes as a quick omelet, her recall and clarity noticeably improved. It wasn't a magic cure, but it was a visible shift that gave her and our family a sense of hope. This is where the idea of eggs as anti-aging really begins to shine. Aging is not only about how many years pass, but about how well our body systems remain connected. how resilient our muscles, bones, and brains remain. Eggs support all of that. Let's not forget eye health either. One of the most common frustrations after 50 is vision decline. Macular degeneration, cataracts, blurry vision, these issues can steal independence. Eggs contain lutein and zeaxanthin, two antioxidants that concentrate in the retina and act like natural sunglasses, protecting your eyes from damage caused by blue light and oxidation. Studies have shown that people who eat eggs regularly have higher levels of these protective antioxidants in their eyes, reducing the risk of serious eye disease. And the beauty is, these nutrients are more bioavailable, easier for your body to absorb when they come from eggs compared to supplements or vegetables alone. This is why a simple sunny side up breakfast may actually be an investment in the long-term health of your vision. Now, I want to address the elephant in the room, cholesterol. Many of you watching may still carry the belief that eggs raise cholesterol and therefore raise heart disease risk. The truth is more nuanced and far more reassuring. Yes, eggs contain dietary cholesterol, but research over the last 2 decades has shown that for the majority of people, dietary cholesterol has minimal impact on blood cholesterol levels. In fact, eggs can even improve your cholesterol profile by raising HDL, the so-called good cholesterol that helps clear bad cholesterol from the blood. Of course, there are exceptions for people with genetic conditions, but for most healthy older adults, moderate egg consumption is not only safe, but beneficial. I personally think it's tragic that an entire generation was told to avoid eggs when they could have been using them as a powerful tool for health. Imagine how many people could have preserved muscle, vision, and brain function had they not been scared away. So, are eggs the secret anti-aging food after 50? Based on the science and the lived experience of countless seniors who have embraced them, I would argue they come very close. They are affordable, versatile, and packed with nutrients specifically relevant to the challenges of aging. But let's also be honest, no single food is a miracle. Eggs work best as part of a lifestyle that includes movement, balanced eating, and a positive mindset. If you eat eggs but never walk, never challenge your muscles, and fill the rest of your plate with processed junk, the results will be limited. But if you pair 2 eggs at breakfast with whole grains, leafy greens, and a short walk afterward, the effects compound. You give your body tools and you use them. That is where anti-aging happens, not in a pill bottle, but in daily choices. I know some of you may be wondering how many eggs you should eat. Most research suggests 1 to 2 eggs per day is safe and beneficial for older adults. You can rotate how you cook them, boiled, poached, scrambled, or baked into dishes, to keep variety and enjoyment alive. If you're worried about calories, remember that eggs are surprisingly low in calories compared to how filling they are. And if you want to maximize nutrition, don't skip the yolk. That's where most of the vitamins, choline, and antioxidants live. The white is valuable protein, yes, but the yolk is the golden treasure for anti-aging. Sometimes in life, the things that sustain us are not exotic superfoods flown in from the Amazon or expensive powders marketed on television. Sometimes they are the familiar foods we've had all along, waiting for us to rediscover their power. Eggs fall into that category. They are not glamorous, but they are mighty. They remind us that solutions to aging with grace are not out of reach, but right in our own kitchens. If you've ever doubted whether small changes matter, I encourage you to test this for yourself. Try incorporating eggs into your week for the next month and pay attention to how you feel. Notice your energy in the mornings, your ability to stay full longer, your focus, even how your skin looks. And if you do, I'd love for you to share your experience. If you're watching this on YouTube, leave a comment below. Have eggs made a difference for you? Or do you still carry concerns about cholesterol? Let's start a conversation, because your story may inspire someone else who is hesitant. And if you find this kind of information helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That way, you'll be the first to know when we share more practical, science-backed ways to thrive after 50. We are building a community of people who refuse to accept decline as inevitable, and I'd love for you to be part of it. As we close, let me leave you with this thought. Aging is not the enemy. It is simply a stage of life that calls for wisdom in how we care for ourselves. Eggs are not magic, but they are a symbol of renewal, of new beginnings. After all, every life starts from an egg. Perhaps in some poetic way, bringing eggs back into your diet after 50 is about more than nutrition. It's about choosing to start fresh, to say, my best years are not behind me. They are still unfolding. Imagine waking up each day with the energy to do what you love, the clarity to enjoy your conversations, the strength to explore with your grandchildren or travel with your partner. That is the promise of aging well, and that is what we are fighting for together. So, yes, I believe eggs are one of the secret anti aging foods, not because they erase time, but because they give us the building blocks to make the years ahead vibrant. And isn't that what we all want? Not to stop the clock, but to make every tick worthwhile.